Okay, so good day, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at how to build effective dashboards and reports. And today the session will be taken to us by Bernard. Learning company brought to you by UrBizEdge and being sponsored by Enterprise DNA. Enterprise DNA is a data firm that focuses on empowering Power BI users to make the most out of their data using Power BI. There are a lot of learning resources. They also have an event that was ended, and they also have a forum where you can go and ask questions. And you should partake in the Power BI challenges as well. Then a little bit about your business. So your business is a registered Microsoft consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analyst, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. And they specialize in helping companies and high valuable professionals be on top of their business data. They're also developers of the Nigeria Financial Market Analyst tool, which is you can find on the Microsoft Office store. They engage in physical classes as well as online classes, and I'll drop the link in the chat where you can check it out as well. So today our guest speaker is Ebenezer, and Ebenezer is a corporate strategist with an hunger for continuous improvement. He also specializes in building business and department from the ground up and turning around businesses in a downturn to a professional and winning way. Then he also has exponential sales in identity opportunities in technology and innovations that organization can capitalize on based on strengths. So hello, Ebenezer.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Can you?
Yes. How are you? You
Okay.
could. Okay. Okay. So I've stopped sharing.
So I'm sure you can see my screen now.
Not yet.
Okay. I guess it's loading,
Yes,
but my
listen.
screen should be. Is it up?
It's loading, but it could be from my end as well. I don't know. Everybody say the screen.
I may not be able to see the feedback because I'm on full screen now. So,
Yes, they can see your screen right now.
all right. So, hello everyone. My name is Ebenezer Sarfo. I'm a strategic planning manager at Ghana's foremost and biggest utility company. And I'm also a partner at Eureka Business Intelligence. It's one of Ghana's leading business intelligence firms. My work basically revolves around data to make decisions, and that is what I've specialized in the past 6 years. I began my career as an electrical engineer, and I've been in senior management business intelligence unit in several companies. Ghana becomes a hub, maybe competing with Nigeria in Africa for data analytics resources, especially the human resource. Today, like you already know, I'm going to talk about how the key um, to designing an effective dashboard or report. I think there has been, even the topic alone, the difference between dashboard or report has been debated, but this is not the forum for that. I believe that whether you call it a dashboard or a report depends on how you're using it. In this case, I'll prefer using the word report because in the business world, that is what is mostly used. I mean, we are used to our reports. And I said I'm going to talk about the key. And the key is an acronym for the problem to be solved. K for know your end user and how your report is going to be used. The E is for enumerate the questions to be answered, and Y is for your inspiration. So my entire session is going to be around the
Hello, Bernard. Yeah, Bernard, I think your internet had there was a
Can you
problem.
hear me?
So, yeah, we can hear you now, but we lost you for a moment.
Oh, sorry. I said that my focus is going to be on the why of dashboards and reports, and that is what the key that you are looking for is in. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All right. So the key stands for the problem to be solved. That is, the debt comes from the problem to be solved. The K is know your end user and how your report is going to be used. The E is to enumerate the questions to be answered, and Y is your inspiration. So I'll be tackling each and every one of these things that I've enumerated here. But before that, like I said, what I wanted to talk about is, why do we build dashboards? We should always remember this fact. The reason why dashboards or data analytics or data science is important is the end result, which is decision making. So everybody in data analytics or data science or business intelligence should always remember this, that why you are hired or why we do what we do is to help or to assist in decision making. With this in mind, you would always design reports or dashboards with this thinking. So I'll start with the problem to be solved. Always, most data analysts or business analysts forget about this when they are building dashboards. Without understanding the problem, you cannot build a very good dashboard or an excellent dashboard. It always starts with understanding the problem to be solved. So the question is that, what is the business objective and what pain points do the business have before you even start your report? So when you get a request to build a report, the first thing that you need to ask is that, what is the problem to be solved? Once you go through this rudiment with the end user or whoever has brought the request, your job is sliced by about 80%, because now it is clear on what is expected of you as the designer or the report builder. So you need to understand the problem to be solved. This means that you need to get a certain technical understanding of the business that you are trying to solve the problem for. If it is in healthcare, you need to pretty much update yourself with what is happening in the business and what the business is about. If it's a financial institution, you need to abreast yourself with a debit and a credit. You need to know what the business is about, as well as keenly the problem that they are having. If you get this key right, you are likely to always solve the business problems, and you would always be somebody that is useful for your end users. So always start with the problem to be solved. Find out what is the problem. What are you looking at? So once you understand the problem, whether it's your own dashboard or it's for a business, and in this case, I'm talking mostly for the business users, you'll be able to appreciate what to do to build a very excellent dashboard. All right. So the next thing, because we've now tackled the problem to be solved, I think at this stage I may accept questions if there are after the key problem to be solved.
Okay, so if there are any questions, you can drop them in the chat box and I will notify Ebenezer. I'll tell you whenever there's any question.
All right. So I'll go on with the K. The K is to know your end user and how your report is going to be used. It is important after you've understood the problem to be solved, perhaps it came from your organization to you. You need to know your end user. You will not know how to design the report. For instance, if I'm designing for the CEO of a company, it's going to be different from designing for the head of sales for the same report. So knowing your end user is a critical key to actually building effective report. Because at the end of the day, the decision is going to be taken by an end user. So if you know that it is going to be done by the CEO of the company, then you know that, okay, this and this is how I need to design the report so that I would get the end user to know how to take the decision. Like I was saying, if it's going to be used by those on the front lines, that also would change the dynamics in your report. So a report for a CEO will be different from the head of sales, and it will be different from the sales executive going on the market to actually do their sales. If it is for a CEO, he's looking at the summary report of what is happening, and he also may not necessarily need slices because the CEO may not have time. That means that your report should be brief and straight to the point on the decision that has to be made. If your report is going to the head of sales, he may need better and further particulars to actually the decision to be made. If it's going for the people, the sales executive, they may go deeper to understand what you are actually trying to say. So the K in the key is to know your end user and how your report is going to be used. And in the how your report is going to be used, like I said, the essence of your report is for decision making. If your report is going to be used in the boardroom, in a comfortable place where decisions are being made, there is the need for you to know that once it's going to be used in the boardroom, you need to give us a brief and as well the details, because at that point in time, the decision to be made may be on the go. Or in the board meeting, they may require further and better particulars in what you are talking about. So knowing your end user and how your report is going to be used is going to help you or go a long way in helping you build effective report. If it's, for instance, going to be used by, for instance, a report that is going to be used in the airport and your end users is the travelers. That's why when you go to the airport and you see dashboards, they are plain and they are straight to the point, because your end user is the traveler who does not have too much time to make a decision on which terminal they are going to probably board their flight. Knowing this end user would tell you that your report has to be brief and straight to the point, perhaps just a table indicating which terminal that the person has to board. And if a flight is delayed, that has to probably come first so that the end user may know what to do. You would also know that once it's going to be used on the fly, you cannot afford to actually bring in slicers or filters. So knowing your end user and how your report is going to be used would also help you in building effective dashboard. If there are no questions on the key, I'm going to the E. Can I continue?
No, yes, you can continue. There are no questions.
All right. So the E stands for enumerate the questions to be answered. If you are an industry person, you understand how critical this is. Because after understanding the problem and knowing the end user, you need to get back to the stakeholders and find out and agree with them which questions are we trying to answer. So for instance, let's say I'm an oil company and the issue is that we have too many safety issues, or there are risk issues that are I want to bring to management. Therefore, this to management's attention, I need to be clear on what questions management wants to answer. One,
I think Ebenezer has a bit of, like network issues.
once I get a question, I will let you know the question. Hello?
Yeah, your network, you're so broke again. Yeah, you broke again.
Wow.
Okay, but it's better now.
Yeah, I was saying that.
I also can't hear anything. Hello, Ebenezer. Yeah, hello.
If you
Yes.
can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you now, but it does for the past like I think some like 5 minutes
A
or
break.
so. Yeah.
All right, let me take the enumerate questions again. So, like I was saying, you enumerate the questions to be answered with the stakeholder once you've understood the problem to be solved, and then you know the end user and how the report is going to be used. So, like I was given a case in point. I was working with an oil company which wanted to understand the problem was that they had issues with their risk. So they wanted to understand their risk. So I'll go through questions with them. Number one, for instance, would want to know what is our risk profile. Question two, perhaps where are we actually having our highest risk or where is our exposure? That is why in the understanding the problem, you need to understand what the business is about. So in this case, you need to understand risk in a certain sense so that when you're asking for the exposure, you know what to do. Number three, maybe you are looking at what is likely to impact the company and what is the possibility of their happening. So with these three questions, you go into building your dashboard to answer these three questions. Do you get it? And ideally, you can answer each question on a particular page in the dashboard. Is it clear? If you have any other questions on the E, that I can continue.
No questions at the moment.
All right. So the why is your inspiration. And this is after you've gotten the questions, after you've known the problem, after you've known the end user and the way that they are going to use your report and enumerating the questions, you need an inspiration. And in this, I would always advise that you go to NoviPro. Now that NoviPro is so big on BI reports, Pinterest is another place to get your inspiration. But that should come after you've enumerated the questions, and then you can go for your inspiration. You need an inspiration. You may not be an artist. You need to have an inspiration of how you want your end product of the dashboard to look like. So you would always require an inspiration. So that actually would then end the key that you would have to get to build excellent dashboard. I will take you through, this answers the why, because at the end of the day, once you understand why you are building this report, understanding the problem, knowing your end user, enumerating the questions and getting your inspiration, then you can actually follow these 15 tips I'm going to give to actually have an excellent dashboard. If there are no questions, I'll continue.
Questions. Oh, the Novo Pro. You mean the platform where you can upload your portfolio?
Yes. Now it's a big place to pick inspiration for Power BI reports.
Power BI reports. Yeah.
Yes, I would recommend people like Federico Pasta and Gustavo Duga as people to actually follow on novipro.com. So if you have never used NoviPro as a Power BI person, I would recommend that you go there. Enterprise DNA is also.
We're having a session on NoviPro next week.
You said?
We'll have a session on NoviPro, like how to use it from the CEO next week as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
The social. Yeah.
All right. And Enterprise DNA is also big on the inspiration. There are several reports. They've redesigned their website, and now there's an inspiration page where you can have sample reports in Power BI as well. It used to be my go-to place for ages, and then NoviPro came, so I balanced the two. If you can't find something in NoviPro, you can go to Enterprise DNA. So, for instance, if you are building a sales report, the best thing is to search for a sales report or copy from another report altogether, and that would inspire you to bring it into what you are doing. Inspiration can be like 3 or 4 reports that you can combine to get your end result. All right. So I'll continue with the 15 tips that can help you build an excellent after you've gotten this key. Can I go ahead with you?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you can go ahead.
All right. So 15 tips after the key, after knowing the problem to be solved, knowing your end user, enumerating your questions, and getting your inspiration. These are tips that I'll credit the SQL BI guys. These are tips that, to me, are eternal in a certain way that will keep on going through in our reports to build excellent reports. The first tip is to design for a target. I've already talked a lot about that you need to know who your end users are to be able to know how to design. The second tip is that keep everything at a glance. So you need to make sure that there is nothing hidden in your report. The essence of your report is for people to be able to read it and make meaning out of it. Don't hide things behind something. If it is not important, then you take it out. So the second tip is to keep everything at a glance. The third tip is that keep it simple. In report building, it may look like the sophisticated reports are the best report, But the truth of the matter is that the simpler the report, the better it is for decision making. Like I said, the end result, what I want, if you not take anything out of this meeting, take it that the end result of your report is that there is a decision to be made. And always your report should answer that question. So you need to keep it simple. I always say there is a UI rule of thumb that the way that I see a report as useful is that when I ask a question, it should take you less than 2 clicks to be able to answer with your report. And that is one of the key ways of keeping your report simple. Number 4 is to align elements. I mean, it's important that you create an alignment for us to know the flow of your story and also know that it's easy on the eye when you align your elements. The card should be aligned properly. The other tiles should be aligned properly. In Power BI, there is an align button under I think under view or so, which helps you to align objects in Power BI. Number 5 is to reports are just like our usual report that we used to do in organizations. It's just that we are digitalizing the report. And therefore, if you are using a particular font size, you need to be consistent in the font type that you may be using. And also in colors, it's important that you're consistent. That is why it's important that you could also go to your custom theme and then choose particular colors and what you need to do. I'll talk more on that when I'm talking about the choose colors.
Yeah, so
Number 6 is to highlight.
Okay, someone will ask, how do you choose the right color? Like, so choosing the right colors and
when I get to point 11, I'll
talk about that. Okay.
I'll demonstrate that in point 11. I'll do a demonstration in that in point 11. So highlight the most relevant information. It's important that you use either the size of your tab or the size of your card or the size of your visuals to highlight the most important information. Also, you can use colors to do that. You can highlight it by probably the RYB, red, amber, green, the rag model, by using that for us to know which information is very important and which is not. So you need to highlight the most relevant information. If you think that a particular information is the most relevant, you could make that visual the biggest so that it's clear that that is the most vital information that you have. Number 7 is to be very clear. Don't bring ambiguity in your report. I always tell people that the analyst must always tell a story, not give us everything that is in the data. If that was what your job is, then you are not useful. Your job as an analyst is to go into the data and see the insights and tell the end user what you've seen. That is why you are being hired. You are not hired to tell us whatever is in the data, but tell us what is useful for our decision. That is why it's important to understand the problem as an analyst. Number 8 is to start from 0. Unless you are in a special field, always start your axis at 0. That is your y-axis in your analysis, especially for the line charts and the column charts, because you may be given a skewed information. And one thing that, especially if your report is going to use at the boardroom, you don't want to give false signals that you ask what is happening here, because you started from a certain point and it's making some variances look so big. Number 9 is to shorten the numbers. If it's not for accountants, if your report is not for accountants, it's important to know the people you are building the report for. If your report is not for accountants, you always have to shorten the numbers, because CEOs are not interested in all the 1 point, if it's $1 million cities or $1 million point or 1643 with 6 digits. The CEO may not be interested in that. Shorten the numbers so that the story can flow, unless it's for accounting purposes. Then you give tables with the actual numbers. Then show context. This is something that I always tell analysts, that always ensure that you show context. And without context, data is useless. Because if you tell me our sales is 1 million cities, and there is no context to the sales that last week what we did, or the next week what we are likely to do, or the same year last year what we did, then it's not useful for the decision making. So in business, we are always trying to see context. If, for instance, you can also benchmark with other institutions for us to see the context. Number 11 is choose right colors. And I think with this, I'll do a demonstration. I'll do a demonstration on how to choose right colors. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what I do, I'm going to just give you a simple trick. Go to imagecolorpicker.com. This is the website to choose colors and to give you palettes.
So we can't see anything. We can't see your screen.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me share the current screen. So go to imagecolorpicker.com. You can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Yeah. So if you have a company and you get a company logo, all that you do is that you go to this website, you see that there's a palette. This is based on this particular picture or image. Let's say I go to use image, I'll say browse or drop image. I'm going to just pick a particular company. In this case, that's the company logo. You see, once I pick that company, it gave me a palette to use. You see that?
Yes, we're seeing it. We're seeing everything.
Yes. So based on these hex code, you copy them and paste them into your Power BI report under the custom theme. So you pick each and every one of the hex code. I'll also open my Power BI and show you how to customize a theme so that it will help your report have particular colors throughout. This is one of the key things I see in bad reports, that their colors are all scattered over, especially when people start using dark theme and they have challenges changing each background. Once my Power BI loads, I'll teach you how to custom the theme and then get a better report with the right colors. So once you go to Image Color Picker, you can upload the logo of the company or whatever you're trying to do, so as it can give you a range of colors that you can use, and they can blend carefully for your report or your dashboard. So let's say you can see my Power BI screen, right?
Yes, we can see your Power BI screen.
All right. So you go to View, and then you go under View, you go to the theme and do Custom Current Theme. So you see color 1. So under Name and Colors, you see color 1, color 2, color 3. Once you pick the color, there is a hex code here. You go back to your Image Color Picker, you pick the hex code, you copy it, and then you paste it in the hex. So you do that for all the 9 colors that you'll be using, so that your colors will be consistent and will be the right colors, at least for the report that you are doing. Also, you can actually customize the background of all visuals in the custom theme in Power BI. So if you are using a dark theme, you can actually have a default dark background for all your visuals. You get it? So that is how to choose the right colors. That is one way of choosing the right colors. I'll go back to my presentation and then all right. So I was talking about point number 11 and I went to the Image Color Picker. So now point number 12, design reports, not dashboards. We used to be told that we should design dashboards, not report. But today, the way the Power BI has morphed into is best to design it as a report with all your page navigation already embedded in the report. The main reason is for page navigation and also for the flow of your story. Then show variation, that when I was doing contest. Show with regards to previous week, previous year, previous month. Then number 14 is leave the noise. Always remember, you could have like 15 iterations of your report. Always try and remove the noise so that you are clear on what to do. Then number 15 is pick the right charts. And I'm sure the next question that somebody may ask is, how do I pick the right charts? And that is where my next slide is upon.
So
there are comparison charts.
From Timothy. Timothy, you had a question?
Yes, sir. I think the question is being addressed at this point.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
So the next question would be, how do I pick the right charts? Always know that there are types of charts and how to use them. There are comparison charts, there are change over time charts, and this particular, I will share with you so that you can share with the user group. This is a chart legend or a help guide to help you choose the right chart. When you're doing comparisons, that is when you use the clustered bar chart. The green ones are the preferred, followed by the white and the yellow, and then the ash. So in the comparison charts, you see clustered bar chart, clustered column chart, bullet chart by OKViz, and dot plot by OKViz. The ones with the Power BI logo on it, the PL logo, is the ones that are Microsoft certified. That's the native visual. The others are the custom visuals that you have to download from the Microsoft store. So for comparison, the best charts are clustered bar, clustered column, bullet chart, and dot plot. For change over time, when something is changing over time, so for comparison, once again, when you are comparing one dimension to the other over a particular value, I know most of you know about the facts and the dimensions. When you are looking at the two dimensions over a particular value, that is when you are comparing. For the change over time, you are always looking at your x-axis being date. So something with relation to the date. It could be any of the dimensions of the date, be it month, quarter, week. But once it's changing over time, don't use any other chart than a line chart. The spark line is also a good addition, and the card with state, which has a trend line beneath it. So that is also for change over time. If you are not doing a change over time, never use a line chart, because it is not a continuous data. Unless the data is continuous, in this case a date, that is when you use a change over time visual. Then there is part to whole. That is when you are looking at a part being something being a part of something. That is where our famous pie charts come in. But pie charts, I always give a caveat that if the elements are so close, don't use a pie chart. And if also there are more than 5 elements, don't use a pie chart because it becomes clumsy. Rather use a start column chart, which may give you over 100%, or use the grand total as a percentage instead of the no calculation in Power BI. Then there are distribution charts. So when you're looking at distribution in terms of, you can use the histogram, you can use your candlesticks, and you can use your outlier detection. There's also correlation, and that is where scatter charts becomes very useful, or your line and cluster chart. And then the last part is the ranking, spatial, and flow. Ranking, you are looking at, so whenever you are using a clustered bar chart, make sure that there is a rank to it. Because with the clustered bar chart, the person would have to always tend to find out the values, because the y-axis rather contains the dimension and the x-axis contains the value. So always make sure that it is a ranking when you are using your clustered bar chart. So it ranks from highest to lowest. That is when you use the clustered bar chart. Then spatial, I mean, that is the map visuals that actually tells the best story whenever you are talking about a map. The field map is a very great tool. Maybe one of these days I'll just do a particular interview just on field maps and how to use them. The synoptic panel is a fantastic tool, and if you know how to use it, it can give you, I mean, mind-boggling insight. I use that for the risk matrix, and it's very fantastic. Then there is the flow, especially when you have something flowing from one particular place to other locations. You use the flow charts. The flow charts include the hierarchies, the decision trees as well, and the waterfall. Then we have the single filter and narrative. So for single visuals, we are looking at the cards. I'm sure most of us are familiar with that. And filters, we are looking at the slicers. My favorite slicer is the chiclet slicer. And for narrative, these are some of the narrative visual. Now there is smart narrative, which is the Microsoft certified and native visual in Power BI now. I think I would end here. So let's get interactive. You can follow me on Ebenezer Sarfo on my YouTube channel or Eureka BI, and also on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this session. So I was asking if it's possible for you to share the slide deck after this session.
I'll do that.
So yeah, the slide deck will be kept out on the YouTube channel. The YouTube video was also uploaded in the description. So are there like any questions at the moment? I think there's none. So wait, you got one particular slicer that you say is your favorite. Could I like see it? Yeah, chiclet slicer. Oh, is it possible? Yeah, I would like to actually see if that's possible.
Okay, let me. It's not a custom visual. It's a. Yeah, so that is it. Let me add. It's very interesting what it can do. But if you downloaded the sample, you see some of the interesting things that it does. So, because I don't have any data set here, very interesting. Let me get some data. Okay. Not like a normal slicer, but it's transform. Should have just loaded. I'm used to always transforming my data before.
Yeah, it's actually great to always transform your data before you.
A default that I go through before.
All right. So it's loaded. Now let me just try and see my checklist. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So Ebenezer, someone said that some of the charts, like for example, the map are not enabled on the Power BI desktop. So I know
You
the
see
map
the tick, right?
is you can go to your settings to actually.
You said someone was
So
asking on map.
so some of the charts are not available on his Power BI desktop. Like for example, the map one,
Okay.
and I
I
know
mean, most of
that's
the visuals are non-native visuals. These
yeah.
are custom visuals. So you go to the custom, just like what I was just doing. You go to your three ellipses and get more visuals, and then you pick it from the
Gets
store.
it. Oh, okay,
So this
this
is
is
the
a slicer.
yeah, it's quite unique. You can customize it 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, and then change the colors. And it's quite. You can also pick images. It's quite- All right. Any other questions?
No, there's not a question. Oh, I didn't have questions. Oh, thank you so much for this session. I think your battery is about to go. Yeah, your battery is really low. So thank you again. Thank you once again for this amazing session, and hope to see you final session maybe on the map visual that you mentioned that you like.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you. So the YouTube video will be available on YouTube by latest Tuesday. I'll post the link in the link description, and again, you can also connect with Ebenezer on. Okay, session of darks. We have actually had a session of darks before, but yeah, we can also have another session again on darks as well. Yes. All right, now. So thank you. We'll have a session of darks very soon.
Thank you very much.